Imagine being so sick that your own body is failing you. A doctor tells you that you need a new kidney or a new heart to live. But the waiting list is, well, years long. For many, this isn't just a hypothetical situation. It is a terrifying reality. This kind of desperation creates a demand. Where there is demand, a market often follows. This is where the grim world of organ harvesting begins. It's the illegal removal of human organs. The organs are then sold for transplantation. It preys on the poorest and most vulnerable. It turns human bodies into commodities. The reasons are simple and deeply troubling. On one side, wealth and medical need. Patients in developed countries face agonizingly long waits. They also have the means to seek other options. Sometimes they feel they have no choice. On the other side, extreme poverty and exploitation. People are coerced or tricked into selling parts of themselves. They're promised life-changing money. For many years, China performed a huge number of organ transplants, far more than could be explained by its voluntary donation system. The country's officials had an explanation. They said the organs came from executed prisoners. These prisoners, they claimed, had consented to donating their organs after death. Human rights groups argued that a prisoner on death row can't really give free and voluntary consent. They are in a position of extreme vulnerability. The idea of the state harvesting organs from people it is about to execute sent a chill down the spine of the international community. It raised fundamental questions about medical ethics. But the story became even darker. The numbers just didn't seem to add up. Researchers and investigators started looking closer at the data. They found that the number of transplants being performed in China was far greater than the number of official executions. So, where were all the extra organs coming from? This question led to a terrifying accusation. Allegations began to surface that China was not just using death row prisoners. It was accused of forcibly harvesting organs from living prisoners of conscience. These are people who are jailed not for committing a crime. Imagine you are told you have a few weeks to live unless you get a new liver. In your home country, the wait could be 2 years, 3 years. Then, you hear about a place where you can get a transplant in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. For someone facing death, this is a powerful lure. This is the world of transplant tourism. It's where patients travel abroad to receive an organ transplant. While some forms of it can be legal, it often involves stepping into a morally gray area or outright illegality. And for a long time, China was the #1 destination for this kind of travel. The most suspicious thing about China's transplant industry was the incredibly short waiting times. In countries with established ethical donation systems, patients wait for a tragic accident. A compatible donor must die in specific circumstances for their organs to be viable. This process is unpredictable. It's why waiting lists are so long. But in China, hospitals could schedule a kidney transplant for a specific date, just a few weeks in advance. The illegal organ trade is not just happening in one country, it is a sprawling global network. It operates like any other criminal enterprise, with different people playing different roles. At the bottom of the chain are the recruiters brokers. These individuals work in impoverished communities. They target the most vulnerable people. Struggling laborers, refugees, those deep in debt. They are persuasive. They know how to exploit desperation. They might hang around hospitals, factories, slums, listening for stories of financial hardship. They offer a solution that sounds too good to be true, a large sum of money for a spare kidney. Once a potential donor is found, they are passed up the chain. The next link is often a medical professional. This could be a corrupt doctor, a nurse, a lab technician. Their job is to perform the necessary medical checks. They take blood samples. The stories of organ trafficking are not just statistics. They are about real people whose lives have been shattered. Kosovo, 2008. The Medicus clinic on Pristina's outskirts was at the center of an international scandal. Investigators found poor people being lured from Turkey, Russia, Moldova, Kazakhstan. They were promised up to $20,000 to sell a kidney. The recipients came from Israel, Canada, Germany, paying over $100,000. The traffickers pocketed the huge difference. One Turkish man says he was recruited in Istanbul after falling into debt. He was flown to Pristina and had his kidney removed. He was paid only a fraction of what he was promised. He was left at the airport in pain to find his own way home. The clinic's director and several doctors were arrested and convicted. The case revealed a sophisticated multi-country network. It showed how weak laws and porous borders let traffickers turn a medical facility into a house of horrors. Another case in Israel. Levi Isaac Rosenbaum was sentenced in the U.S. He acted as a broker, an organ matchmaker in his Brooklyn community. He admitted brokering 3 illegal kidney transplants. He bought kidneys in Israel for as little as $10,000. Many people have heard a chilling rumor. They believe you can go online onto the dark web and order a human organ like you would order a book. You see screenshots of supposed price lists for hearts, lungs, eyeballs. They are often presented as proof of a depraved online marketplace. However, the reality is a little different. While the dark web is home to many illegal activities, drug sales, hacking tools, a direct-to-consumer organ market is largely a myth. It is mostly a collection of scams and urban legends. Think about the logistics. A heart or a liver is not a product you can put in a box and mail. It requires immediate, highly complex medical transportation and surgery. The organ must be a biological match for the recipient. The surgery requires a team of skilled professionals and a sterile operating theater. These are not things that can be arranged through an anonymous dark web transaction. Most of the organ store sites found on the dark web are run by scammers. They prey on the gullible and the desperate. They will take a person's cryptocurrency payment and then simply disappear. No organ is ever delivered. So, how much does a human organ cost on this illicit market? The prices vary wildly, depending on the organ, depending on the country, depending on the desperation of the buyer. The donor gets the smallest share. In places like India, in places like the Philippines, someone might be paid as little as $1,000 for a kidney. They might be promised up to $10,000, but often receive much less after traffickers take their cuts. This is life-changing for someone in extreme poverty, but it's a pittance compared to the final price. The recipient pays a fortune. A black market kidney can cost $50,000 to over $150,000. A liver can fetch up to $200,000. The vast majority of this money goes to brokers, to corrupt surgeons, to criminal masterminds who run the network. They are the ones who profit. Governments and international bodies are fighting back. Organizations like the World Health Organization have set guiding principles on transplantation. Many countries have strengthened their laws, making buying or selling organs illegal. This means promoting voluntary donation. Sco's Media has done extensive research on this topic. Be sure to like and subscribe to Sco's Media YouTube channel.